Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to sleep. Last night, I must confess, I had precious little of it, what between the dog taking up a third of the mattress and the fact that I was doing my taxes until 2 a.m. And just in case the IRS is watching, this was filmed on April 14th. But it got me thinking about how bedtime and the act of sleep differs in a surprising number of ways on either side of the pond. And as somebody who has vast experience of sleeping or not sleeping in both countries, I'm here to give you the lowdown while I lay down. And if you have not yet made your bed and subscribed to this channel, do that now. In the meantime, let's talk about bedtime. You simply can't escape the fact that the size of your bed is going to dictate the quality of your sleep. And there's also no denying the fact that Britain and America have different mattress sizes. How do I know? Because I've lived in both countries. But also, past Lawrence already told you about this. So the smallest bed size in the United States is the twin bed, and its nearest equivalent in Britain is a single bed, which is just as long as an American twin, but 4 inches less wide. After that, America has a twin XL, which is coupled with Britain's small double. Try saying that after 4 whiskeys. And then America has what is known as the full-size mattress. This is almost identical to the double-size mattress in Britain. In the US, some people sleep on the queen, not the queen, that would be breaking news, on a queen-sized mattress, which is about 60 inches by 80. This is virtually identical to Britain's king-size mattress, but neither country ousts their bedroom monarchy there. What's better than a queen? An Olympic queen. In the US, this measures in at 66 inches by 80. Funnily enough, the nearest equivalent in Britain is called, can you guess what it's called? Can you? It's called a super king, and it's 72 inches by 78. And so Britain wins, except it doesn't, because America also has a king-size bed that measures 76 by 80. And at this point, Britain's mattresses abdicated the throne, while America's just kept going with the California King at 72 inches by 84, and that's just showing off. Now, being the YouTube sensation that I am, I have a king size, and thank gosh I do, because if I was in the bed that I had when I was a teenager, either me, my wife, or Arthur would be falling out of the bed, probably all of us actually. So I think that the slightly larger dimensions of American beds are a plus in America's favour. Some Americans that I know, like Scott and Caitlin down the road, wake up at 5 a.m. just to jog, even though they don't have to. And while I can't say that I've embraced jogging, I have embraced something American that helps me function at that time of day. Cold brew. Now, I'm British. The only cold coffee I ever drank was the kind that was left in the microwave for 3 hours. But that's all changed thanks to Trade Coffee. Thanks to their cold brew collection, I've become that person. You know, the one who makes delicious cold brew at home without needing to mortgage my house to fund a cafe habit. It's as easy as scoop, fill, chill, and the taste is genuinely better than anything I'd have got from that cafe. Trade has become the go-to place for coffee lovers in America. That's whether you're into piping hot brews or, as we approach the summer, cold coffee. These guys have partnered with top-notch roasters from all over the country to build a cold brew collection that's, get this, crafted specifically with cold brewing in mind. And because each bag is roasted only after you place your order, you're not sipping on stale shelf coffee, you're getting peak freshness straight to your door. For a limited time, Trade is giving away a free Hario cold brewer when you sign up for a cold brew subscription when you go to drinktrade.com/LITP. That's drinktrade.com/LITP to get your free cold brew maker with select cold brew subscriptions. That's drinktrade.com/LITP. The link is in my description below. Temperature is crucial to getting a good night's sleep. And I think when you're talking about Britain and America, you have to factor in the seasons. In both countries, you'll find heaters, whether that's central heating through vents like I have in this house, or radiators on the wall like I had in Britain growing up. I've never really had a problem warming the house in winter time. It's really when it starts to get to this time of year, and specifically when it gets to summer. Here in America, obviously air conditioning is all the rage. It's needed because those summers can get quite hot, sometimes up into the hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit. But in Britain, when you're in a small room with more than one person or a dog or whatever it might be, something that's generating heat, you could either crack open a window or, as many people do, just sort of sleep in a puddle of sweat. That's what it's like in the summer. I can't remember what it's like to sleep in a British bed at this time of year in April, so maybe I'll go and find out. Well, I'm supremely jet lagged, partly because I only slept 2 hours on the plane. What a go. What a go. So I need to go and find a Costa coffee or a bed, whichever's cheapest. Welcome to our room at the Hayden pub in Notting Hill. Once I've finished gawping in wonder at the layout, this phenomenal bathtub, and these majestic dog portraits, I'm gonna get some sleep. Right now, it's 2:18 a.m. and I'm whispering from the bathroom so that I don't wake up my manager because she was in bed next to me. To be clear, my manager is my wife. Anyway, I can't sleep because even though it's April, sharing such a small bed means that body heat becomes more of a factor. Also, I need to stop whispering now because in UK bedrooms there's no white noise to drown me out. This isn't to say that British people don't find a way to engineer white noise. Ex-footballer Wayne Rooney recently revealed that he sleeps with a hairdryer blowing in his face, perhaps to help him dream of Sir Alex Ferguson. Americans, on the other hand, are all about their white noise. My wife, for example, can't sleep unless we're playing a fake thunderstorm. Or the sound of a train. Or my favourite, the sound of a spaceship. That is on top of the fact that there's an air conditioning unit, so mostly when I sleep I dream about air. But that, believe it or not, isn't the only way my dreams have changed. But I've noticed in recent years, when I dream about people, they have American accents. Because that's what I hear every day. Now, I don't know if when I was in Britain, they didn't have American accents, because, you know, we are exposed to American TV and film. But I feel like if I was dreaming about my family or friends back in England, they would have had the right accents. On some level, I suppose this is in line with studies that show that people who speak multiple languages often dream in more than one. For me, those languages are English and American English. But now I dream about either American people who are real in my life or American people who are made up or scary Russians. Something that I noticed after living here for a while is that many, not all, but many Americans don't know what a hot water bottle is. What's a hot water bottle, Lawrence? It's basically exactly as it sounds. It's a bottle that you fill up with hot water that you stick in your bed to keep the inside of the bed warm, even though you have radiators. And I had one of these growing up, and I think, having read Reddit, they are fairly ubiquitous still in the UK to this day. In America, they seem to be associated with two things. One, the past. In other words, they used to be used quite a lot but aren't anymore. And two, as a sort of heating pad. If you've got like swelling, they might be used in that capacity. I don't think I've seen one in the entire time I've lived in this country. I've also not needed one, to be fair. But let's see if Reddit is correct. Lawrence in Britain, over to you. Well, I just randomly walked into a Boots and lo and behold found 3 different types of water bottle. I opted for the blue one because the other two made me think of sheep and prisons. There's probably a couple of reasons that Americans don't use hot water bottles these days, but chief among them might be the fact that in America we favour top sheets. That's not this thing, this is the duvet. It's the sheet underneath the duvet that goes on top of you, so it's kind of an extra layer of insulation, and it also means you don't have to wash the quilt as often. And I flipping love top sheets. Do you know why? It's not just because of that insulation. In fact, sometimes I find it gets a little too warm, but what you can do is you can just lift the duvet off and only sleep under the top sheet if you're too hot, because that means you still stay warm, but it also means that your dog won't lick you when you are asleep, so that's useful. Whereas growing up in Britain, a top sheet was very much optional, some might say extravagant. And so I'd be interested to see, Lawrence in England, if top sheets are around today. You can probably barely see me, but I am in bed in a hotel in London. And because I've just had a bath, which is something that I do whenever I visit England, because the bathtubs are better, I'm really hot. And the problem is, there's no bloody top sheet, so I can't do my top sheet trick, and I'm just gonna have to sweat buckets or just lay out naked in the bed. There's no dog, so it's probably easier. And finally, melatonin. This is a supplement that I'd never heard of that is designed to help you sleep if you're having trouble doing so. And I say I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it until I moved to America. Because here, if you're just in casual conversation with somebody about how you're finding it hard to sleep, they might say, ooh, you should try melatonin, that you could just pick up off the shelf at Walmart. You have to pay for it. Don't just walk out without paying. Point is, you don't need a prescription or anything like that. Whereas in Britain, Lawrence in Britain, melatonin is not authorised for sale and is only accessible with the aid of a prescription from your doctor. Instead, insomniacs might turn to antihistamines, herbal remedies, or Yorkshire bedtime tea. Thanks, Lawrence in Britain, who is by now sleeping his eyes out. Let me know in the comments if you've ever slept. I imagine you have, and whether that was in Britain, America, or both, and which was best. In the meantime, I only saw these things from my window after moving to America. You'll watch that video next. Until the next time, goodbye.